Hey crafty friends, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I created a sweet little card using the Lovely Layers strawberries. Now I already did all my die cutting of my strawberries. I literally cut every single die from the Lovely Layers strawberries, and I'm going to Copic color these. And as I was editing this video earlier, I thought, gosh, I should have colored these with like zig markers. So I think maybe I will have to try and do that. But I did use Copic markers, and of course that's always fun, and they're absolutely lovely. So for my greens, I used YG 61, 63, and 67. I'm using some Neenah Solar White 110 pound cardstock. I really like to use that for my dies. It's a nice heavy cardstock. I don't feel like my dies are flimsy or anything like that. If I'm doing a layered die, I like a lot of layers, I might use an 80 pound, but I really do tend to stick to an 110 pound. So that's the big cluster of leaves. Then we have our little greenery that goes, our little green toppers to our strawberries. I'm adding a little bit of dark, which was the YG 67, and then I'm blending it out with the YG 63. Keeping it super simple, I did color these really fast. Those were kind of easy. You didn't need to be crazy with them. These are the centers to the flowers. I colored with the YG 61. With that same YG 61, I'm coloring some of the stems in the areas that won't be covered up by the layering part of the dies. But like I said, I did die cut every single piece, and I actually used every single piece on my card. I wanted this card to be full of yummy strawberries. Recently, I just had the most delicious strawberries, and you know, sometimes you get them and they're just a little bit funky. So when I was coloring these, I was craving those yummy strawberries. Now I'm coloring the cute little flower buds yellow. I'm using YG 0000 and YG02. YG02 is the darker color, and then I'm blending it out with that lighter one. Then for my strawberries, I'm using R39, 37, and 35. 39 is the darkest, 37 is the middle color, and 35 is the lightest. And I like that really dark color. I feel like it gives you those really delicious, ripe looking strawberries. And then some of these, I didn't add nearly as much of the R39. I wanted the other ones to feel not so ripe because they were smaller. So I'm coloring all of these. I'm not worried about coloring neatly up at the top because that's where you're going to have, when we colored those little green toppers, that's going to layer on top of these and cover up that area. I'm not going to show you all of the strawberries because they're all colored exactly the same. But let's get these adhered. So you have your background piece. There are 3 strawberries that fit that size. Then you have, I think it's 3 more, the biggest one, and then a couple small ones that are on their own. And we will just place those in the grouping once we get this all adhered. I'm also using the terracotta planters for the first time. I have not used this die yet. I did not make mine terracotta. I actually die cut mine from like a wood grain cardstock. And I just wanted that to be nice and soft. I wanted it to be all about these bright red strawberries. So that was kind of my design choice. Let's finish adhering these little tiny straw babies. I'm using some liquid glue and reverse tweezers from Honeybee Stamps to help put all of these together. Then we can do our flowers. I did notice that there was little leaves sticking off the sides, so I just came in with the YG 61 Copic marker and colored those. Adding some dots of glue and then putting those flowers in place. Then we have 2 more that are just by themselves, which I think is nice because then you can just build how you want your cluster of strawberries and stuff to be built. So let's finish with the centers and then we can put this card together. I am using, first I did some highlights with my white gel pen. I only did this on the strawberries. I did not do it on the flowers or the leaves. but I did want to add a little something to break up all of that red on the strawberries. So a little bit of a line and a few little dots, and you've got a great highlight. Now here is that terracotta planter. I'm using the nice short one. I did get a piece of patterned paper from the Happy Hearts paper pad. I trimmed that down slightly smaller than an A2 size. I will adhere that to a white card panel. I am going to add some foam tape behind the top piece of the terracotta planter. The back piece is from white cardstock. I do want this to have a little bit of dimension between the two because I am going to stuff the strawberries and the leaves down in between. So let's adhere our patterned paper to our white card base. It leaves a nice little white frame around the edge. Then I adhered my my terracotta pot. And then I have some foam tape behind my leaves. I'm just trying to get a good idea of where I want things to be. So I'm doing a little bit of my layout ahead of time. And once I see that it flows good, then I can start adhering everything down. So I pushed my leaves down because again, that did have foam tape behind it. Then I can tuck in some of the other strawberries. I do end up moving this big strawberry. I also trim off some of the longer stems because I don't want to see them through those cute little holes in the front of that terracotta pot. So I adhered that big cluster of strawberries in place. Now I can put the individual pieces in place. So we have our little flowers. That big strawberry I moved. So it did kind of tear some of the paper, but my sentiment is going to cover it, so not a big deal at all. That sentiment is from the Best of Everything stamp and coordinating die. I already had it stamped from a previous project that I didn't use. I believe it was last week's project. It was too big for the card design, so it was already done, but I did use the coordinating stamp, and I did stamp it with Intense Black ink. I added some foam tape, a little bit of liquid glue, adding that right there at the bottom. And then I'm going to finish this off with the Happy Hearts Pearl stickers in green, and I love them. They are so cute. Let's take a close-up look at this card. Look at those strawberries. They just pop against that fun pattern paper. These lovely layer dies are just absolutely one of my most favorite products to use. So yay, Honeybee Stamps. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.